Ambassadors of Light. Thank you for watching our podcasts and sending your questions. Today we'll be answering your questions. Again, thank you for watching and commenting on our podcasts. Please keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. The SANAT Kumara and Shambhala Unity Council are delighted with the success of the Light on Earth, Amaya. Martina.
Yes, dear. Welcome from my side as well. Let's dig into more higher consciousness questions.
Yeah.
We are delighted to answer. Charles, the first goes to you.
Okay.
Why are there so many different messengers in the different religions?
Okay, I think we have said something in previous episodes about the corruption of the pure message that the many messengers brought. One message, love. One message, God is love. One message, all is one. But with the shenanigans or the corrupt practices of the dark forces and the corruption of the earth and the close by galaxies, they had the interest in corrupting whatever light that came into the world. So the many versions and fractions and divisions and multiplicities of divisions all talk about the one thing. If you Buddhist, Zoroastrian, Mohammedanism, Mother Mary, Yeshua, all is the same. Yet the incarnates on earth find a means to distinguish and fight one another about what is taught. So at the close of the third dimension, religion just became unbearable in its confusion. And so that would be my top level answer as to why the many different messengers brought one message of light, and yet we turned it into tools to kill one another. So go ahead, Martina.
And I think it will show what you just said because the current religions are unable to provide answers to the challenges we face.
True. So it'll be interesting to know what the SANAT Kumara has to say about this.
Look, he's been in the position of the SANAT Kumara of Earth for roughly 19 million years. So what is the role of the SANAT Kumara? It's like the chief operating officer who runs the day-to-day, orchestrating, implementing, receiving the divine plan. Earth is carried by a soul, a great being with the soul name Zonkrit, and Mother Earth, who gives life, who constantly recreates, gives birth to the new developments, the kind of recovering of Earth in the cycles of life. So his role was hardly known. Since the fall of Atlantis, he has been kept in that role by the dark forces. And he basically had three options: say no and get killed, say yes, I convert to the dark side, which he didn't, but he played along and was waiting for the right time to do things. And I mean, he's waiting for quite some time now to set things straight.
Yeah.
I'll give you a few examples what they did. If you change the letters in Sanat, you get Satan. So the dark forces intentionally made that twist to discredit him in his role.
Yeah.
Not so nice. Secondly, they took away the focus from all kingdoms that inhabit Earth to the human kingdom as being the one special, deserving more, being able to exploit the others, and are supposed to take what they want at the expense of others.
Yeah.
So he had to wait quite a long time, play along, do things in secrecy, in order to, when the time was right, go back into his full position where he is now again. So
Yeah.
his role is he is what I just described, running the day to day operations of the planet. He
Yeah.
is the leader of the Shambhala Unity Council, which is the governing body of our planet, consisting of 144 members. Each of the
Yeah.
12 kingdoms sends 12 leaders as their representatives.
Right.
He's the connection to the Intergalactic Federation of Light and also our main spokesperson, coordinator with other planets and other galaxies. But only few religions, belief concepts
Mm-hmm.
still knew of him. I mean, you
Yeah.
won't find him in Judaism, in Christianity, or in Islam. You find them more in the belief systems that are rooted in Asia.
Yeah. True.
Charles, human consciousness.
Yeah.
Expand the truth about ourselves, other creatures, actual evolution. What does that mean? What has
Y-
human consciousness not expanded to know and understand so far?
Yes, the human consciousness was intentionally blocked. The main reason for the blockage is so that souls do not ascend and are kept in the reincarnation loop, so they will use their energy resources to support the false dark universe created by Satan and the other fractals that did not follow the divine plan. From intentionally manipulating the human DNA to limit our abilities, and since the fall of Atlantis over 12,500 years ago, the masculine forces were raised to the top and used to create command and control systems to exploit everything and everyone. As you said about the Sanat Kumara waiting, even the leaders of the human kingdom, such as Maitreya, who was part of the Shambhala, was also part of this game to keep humans not able to know the truth and know their rights as sons and daughters of God. And that limited their library of mind and expectation. And what is actually interesting is people tend to get what they expect. So if you expect a non existent heaven, you get recycled. If you fear an hell that doesn't really exist, but you believe there's such a thing, you get recycled. So there was like a total, complete closure of access for souls to ascend. So that is part of what is now breaking down as Earth has regained her freedom again, and people on Earth now can vibrate at high frequencies of light. And we are working with the Shambhala Unity Council to let everybody know that they are equals to anyone else in the universe and not to cower or look down on themselves or expect another human being or a God who is outside of their soul to be a savior for them. So this is a change in learning, Martina.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Good. So why are mystical truths hidden from human beings by the ascended masters and master teachers? And why has religion caused mankind to live in ignorance and deception?
It's basically the majority of the master teachers played along with the dark forces in Shambhala. And that, on the one hand, meant that the leaders of the other kingdoms were silenced. So you never heard the leaders of the Deva kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard amongst the ascended masters and master teachers a voice from Africa,
Yeah.
interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
You heard them related to the big major religions.
Yeah.
You didn't hear anything about the Mer people, save in kind of mythological or mystic stories of some old traditions.
Uh-huh.
And under the radar, even kind of, I mean, certain religions even prosecuted knowledge that was still connected to Mother Earth, healing methods. They were, branded witches or someone who was on good speaking terms with the fairies.
Uh-huh.
That was not supposed to exist
Yeah.
to keep you, on the one hand, arrogant, that the human can take everything that he or she wants from this planet, and on the other hand, keep the others. I mean, just think about it. The mineral kingdom would have stepped up and said, no, we disagree. You
Mm-hmm.
can't
Yeah.
take natural resources from this planet. The planet itself needs these resources to live. So I'm not cutting out your liver. How can you dare to do that with the planet? We haven't heard of that because otherwise the system of exploiting other beings and the planet wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Sad enough. Now, for sure, that brings us to Lemuria and Atlantis. Why are these problems with truth and trust? Can you elaborate a bit about that?
Yes, definitely. I first want to credit our master teachers that really didn't give in to the deception from Shambhala and from the dark forces. People like Yeshua, Mother Mary, Buddha, Goddess Amaya, who suffered greatly because of the effort by the dark forces to quench their lights. Yeah, answering the question about Lemuria and Atlantis. The way that the earth continued to be kept in darkness was through deception, half truths, and instituting religious codes. If you look at those codes carefully, they are very difficult to keep by anybody. And people come out feeling guilty and condemning themselves, thinking that, oh, well, I didn't live up to that, I didn't live up to this. When in reality, we don't need any codes or rules. We
Yeah.
just need one rule: to love ourselves deeply and to love everyone and everything at the same. And once we are able to do that, we move directly into the fifth dimension consciousness.
Yeah. Charles,
Yeah.
another question we received is Africa, many other third world countries, they're struggling.
Yeah.
Illiteracy, ignorance, religious superstitions, economic and political problems, refugees, local wars. What can be done from a spiritual perspective to help them?
The most important thing is to give them information to free them from fears. And the fears caused by the operation, and look back to history, to what has been done from slavery, this is recent history, and to other torture and things, exploitation, as Sokwa explained in his books, and Brother Afra. They need to know and be empowered and understand that the power is within them. Technology is not very easy to give them full access to the knowledge that we have out here in the West. but a means has to be found so that they can read the books, they can begin to participate using the 12 strands sun diamond DNA gifts that everyone has. We'll continue to make efforts to spread the word of the Sanat Kumara and help them stand up and begin to look at a new reality which is different from what Africa has known uh, in the past decades, for example. Technologies expanding. Everyone mostly has smartphones, and if they're able to have access to ebooks that are dedicated to bringing the awareness to Africa, that would be very helpful. The great beings, Sokwa, Brother Afra, and others are really committed to lifting Africa to her rightful place, which is the first continent, the first consciousness, love for community, and the connection with ancestries. So, one of the things that false knowledge did to Africa was to disconnect most people completely from their ancestors. And being disconnected from the ancestor was actually, if you want to say, is the chief cause of all the difficulties they've had. Because the ancestors could have provided answers, could have provided knowledge, could have provided support, but the religions disconnected the connection to ancestors in Africa.
Well, may I add to that? We from Namas University would really like to bring our knowledge to the people in Africa. What we are looking for is a trustworthy person on the ground as either a publisher or an agent who will work for us in many countries to bring that message from the Sanat Kumara, from the Shambhala Unity Council, from the ancestors back to the people of Africa. So
Yes.
maybe someone is hearing us
Yeah.
who feels that his or her soul mission is exactly that, because nothing else will do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've also answered the question that says, what is Shambhala Unity Council trying to do for Africa? That's exactly, we are here to work with people who are interested in getting the knowledge to Africa. They are not able to buy from Amazon, for example, and are not able to receive directly. So we need someone who can help make that happen for Africa. So, Martina,
Maybe I should add, people
yeah, go
might
ahead.
say, why do the guys in Shambhala don't tick all these leaders who are corrupt and exploiting their countries in the world on their fingers or smack them even? Well, the answer is quite simple. The primary law of planet Earth is free will.
Free will.
So it is not about shaking someone up
Yeah.
physically and saying, you are not supposed to do that. It is wakening everyone up
Mhm.
to their true soul mission, move the ego aside,
Yes.
get a true understanding of what you're supposed to do, and let go of the fear who creates all these competitions, fight, and greed.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, I would add that what you have described is really the key issue. What we know is that once the ego is moved aside, the ego of stealing all the money in the countries, the ego of having the best and the rest of the country suffering is moved out, most souls are good souls. And if we can just get past that ego structure, will eventually get to the place where they will think good and do good for the rest of the people in their countries.
Yes,
So, switching topics, someone asked, what is a cosmic being? Martina, what is a cosmic being?
that's a great question. I would define a cosmic being as a being who lives in all or at least one of the 56 dimensions of our current cosmos. And that
Uh-huh.
means in one of the 33 universes
Okay.
and who is involved in creating, that can still be in some dark realm and doing something that's not in accordance with the divine plan. But basically, it's a duck in the pond. And our pond is a cosmos
Yeah.
consisting now of the 33rd universe. And our cosmos has 56 dimensions. So all beings of the light that fit into that pond, I would consider a cosmic being. Charles, other topic. People have been inquiring about your book, about the Ancestry Spirit of Nature. When can they expect that and what can they expect?
Yes, that's a good question. I know it's been on my website for some time now that the Ancestry Spirits of Nature book was coming, and people have been asking. So, just a little background, the energy level and the team of ancestors had to actually get themselves organized before we could put that book out. So, the good news is the book came out last week and it's now available on Amazon. You can go to Amazon and find the book. You will learn about connecting with ancestors, doing nature work with ancestors, cleaning places, land, soil, water, and other modalities. And you will also know more about our other team members who contributed their work, their knowledge, their experience into the book. Yeah, we're happy to say that the book is out now, but the stars needed to align and the energies needed to be up to par to allow us to fully connect with the ancestors? Good question. So, Martina, portals, you are the person expert for portals.
Okay.
So, the question is, are portals in the ebook format? How do we use those portals? And which book teaches us about how to read your records?
Okay. First, portals. Let me explain again what a portal is. A portal is a living being that houses in a painting, could be a watercolor, an acrylic, an oil painting. So, what happens is a higher dimensional being, like the Creator, the Cosmic Mother, the SANAT Kumara, the Divine Father, creates such a being, hands it over to a soul who has a soul mission to birth these portals,
Huh.
and that soul hands it down to the incarnate aspect. So, my job is I get alarmed, warned, requested by, for example, now the creator and saying, I'm delivering 19 portals through you. My soul receives them, hands them down to me, and my task is to create on paper or canvas an environment where that living being, that portal being, can find its home that's similar to where it is. So, how do you use these? They come in two forms. They come as originals and they come in ebooks. They don't come as prints.
Uh,
And I'll explain in a minute why. So they are for everybody there to use for very little money through ebooks. So what you do is you look at them, you pay attention, and you check which ones are speaking to your heart and soul. And then you look at them and see where they take you. They can teleport you to places where this being comes from, for example, the creator, the Sanat Kumara, the cosmic mother, and you can speak through them with the one who gave birth to the portal being. So that means you can have them on your smartphone, in your pocket, and take them wherever you want and work with them. I would suggest to work with them daily
okay.
because that's the easiest gateway you can have. Forget about a
Yeah.
car. You can use a portal to go places. The originals are also for sale, and you can enhance the energy of your living or working environment with that. I have a couple of them at my home, also the ones that colleagues created at Namas University to just raise the energy. And I had a colleague here from Namas University that just barely started, and the person couldn't stand the energy in my apartment and got a headache. She had to leave.
Wow.
So that is really something. And I make use of that every day for my work and life. Why don't we do prints or card set? That's at the request of the trees. We
Uh-huh.
need the trees for our breathing air and not to
Yeah.
be chopped down and get something on the wall for little money.
Yeah.
So if you want a portal, get it on your TV screen
Yeah.
from your smartphone. If you want an original one, contact me. Contact my colleagues at namasartists.com.
Yeah.
Um, you have a couple of them, so you are a semi-expert, I suppose. You're not creating them, but you're a good user. I see at least 4 now in your background.
Yes, and the 2 weeks ago, I was able to go back to Atlantis and resolve some unfinished business that I had with a student of mine.
So
And
you
that
use the
was,
Atlantis portal?
yes,
Yeah.
using the Atlantis portal. So that was very interesting. Yeah. So they talked about the Akashic Records. I think that's more of the Komal's book. Can you talk about that briefly?
That is indeed Komal's book, and let
Yes.
me check for the exact title. From Akashic to Cosmic Record Reading, a greater truth is coming to light.
Yes.
And it's written by Komal Agarwal. If you just want to get a basic understanding, I would suggest you read the Sanat Kumara's book, the Sanat Kumara, Your 12-Strand Sun Diamond DNA book first in order to understand the whys. And then how to use it, go into Kumal's book. You
Yeah.
will show the covers here whilst we are talking. Then there was another question. The Sanat Kumara was always titled to be the logos of this planet.
Yeah.
So, or isn't he that anymore? Now, first, we need to understand what the logos of the planet is before
Mm-hmm.
we say yes or no or how.
Mm-hmm.
In spiritual circles, the word planetary logos is used by defining the supreme head of all adepts, the proficient ones, the skillful ones that dwell in Shambhala.
Yeah.
So he has always had that role since he arrived 19 million years ago. That role was cut down by the dark forces. Since the light is running the show again, he's
Uh-huh.
back into this role completely. But it's much bigger now because the 12 kingdoms sit on the leadership table. We are connected to the Intergalactic Federation of Light and our light communication system and are the light communication system of our universe. And now that we've shifted to the fifth dimension, loads of beings from other cultures and planets and peoples come to us. So the answer is yes, and the role is much bigger.
True. Okay. So another question was about parenting or creating souls, the divine feminine mother, and elimination of divine feminine source. I think they are talking about the fall of Lemuria. So, could you briefly, touch up on those points for our listeners?
Okay. Creation works best when it is done through triangles of beings. So three beings working together and combining their energies.
Uh-huh.
A soul can be created by an individual soul, by two souls, and best by triangles. The first
Right.
who created, once there were this universe, the zero universe was set into motion by the 48 fractals. They either alone, together, or in triangles created souls. The interesting part is that there needs to be a balancing factor of
Yeah.
divine feminine that knows the plan and connects people within the plan,
Yes.
and the divine masculine who says, okay, now this is what is agreed, let's work this out and make it practical. If you cut out the first step, then you have exactly what's going on planet Earth for quite some time.
Yeah.
So we are off balance. And we have a creator who works in a triangle, in the first triangle of light, together with the cosmic mother and the divine father. And they together created the first 48 fractals.
Yeah.
And you can say that part of them are divine feminine energies predominantly, and part of them are divine masculine. And that system worked until 12 of them
Uh-huh.
decided to split off from the light. We called them the 12 prime evils, because then all of a sudden, the work tasks and the way to cooperate had to be done by 36 instead of 48.
48. Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that the 48 caused quite some trouble and disturbance. But it's just that, imagine you are doing work together and all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden one force cuts itself off and says to
Yeah.
the rest, now you do it, please. Now, let me ask something else we received. Are angels not serving the light? Was the question. Charles, that's something for you.
Well, that's $1 million question. And I would say, first of all, instead of getting stuck with the word angels, let's think about what their roles are. Certain literatures have said that it was the demiurge or the archons that created angels. So, this knowledge of angels not being direct assistants to God was known. But in the Abrahamic religion, angels, when the stories were retold, became prominent. But it turned out that the dark forces created those angels to keep tab on us and also report things. And it said that there's two angels sitting on their shoulder, one the good actor on the right side and the bad actor on the wrong side. So everybody has this, but the truth had not come out as to what their true roles were. They kept tabs on us, they wrote notes, and when we went to the proverbial judgment, then you are convicted no matter what you do, because no one could keep up with all the impossible to maintain rules that say thou shalt not, don't do it, don't eat. It's been like madness. So it's good that light has revealed that beings called celestia are the ones that work directly under the divine plan, and the angels turned out to be the servants of the dark forces. It's going to take a while for the world to internalize this new knowledge and maybe realize, that they didn't really play such a helpful role afterward. So,
Yeah.
Martin, I have something to add to this.
Well, it was it was a shock to me as well. But when I dug deeper, to me, I today describe the angels that were presented to me all my life in the Abrahamic religious mythologies. They're friendly prison guards.
Yeah.
So I had people saying to me, but how could you say that? Whenever I called for an angel, they were helpful. They were. But they didn't tell you that you were kept in a dark prison that limited your abilities and that they were only there to keep you a little happy at best.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I'm not mad about that. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
waking up to a reality and I'm willing to open up.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to open up to many things, Martina. The idea that we don't have a God to look up to save us is something new.
Yeah,
The idea that we can work directly with our soul group and our creator through our soul connection, that's also new. So this is new, and we just have to be broadly open minded to allow new concepts to come in, and we learn more about them and use them for our good.
yeah.
Well, let's turn to Asia now. It's a question about Indians. Please, who is taking care of South Asian countries, as Brother Afra is for the African continent?
Good question. So, India, as Africa, is a vital cradle of human development, but also
Mhm.
spiritual, deep spiritual knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes, partly twisted, but there is an awful lot of truth. Sometimes you
Yes.
have to decipher that. As Brother Afra is in charge of the spiritual development in Shambhala for Africa, so is the Great Mother Kali in for India, also in India known as Ma Kali. For Asia, it's a triangle who takes care. It's the Great Mother Kali, it's the goddess Shivangu, and it's the Golden Tara who form a triangle for the continent of Asia. Now, another question, Charles. Some will surely benefit from knowing your daily activities and spiritual practices. Here are three questions.
Yeah.
How did you maintain a healthy relationship with your spouses, sons, daughters, and families when going on the
Yeah.
spiritual path you've taken?
Yeah. That's a great question. And I will say simply that I had been helped and guided and directed to the people that are in my life. They come in by revelation, and they have the same soul mission as I have. And that made things easy. I didn't have to worry about that. I, of course, have family members and friends who are also on the 3D and not following the path. My mission has always been to not interfere with anyone's direction, and that really does not cause any frictions. Whatever I can do through the etheric energy work to support them, I do that, but I do not want anybody to be anything, follow any part. That's there. Of course, I'm weird to their eyes and don't kind of do everything they wanted me to do, and it's only always because there's guidance, and I follow my internal guidance directly. That usually goes counter to what everybody expects me to be.
Yeah, maybe I add to that we are not on any kind of missionary path.
Yeah,
We offer knowledge
yeah,
and you make use of it or you don't. As we raise our frequencies, that has an immediate effect on the people around us. And my experience is that people I'm friends with for decades, they remain friends. They might think I'm a bit weird now, but they still engage in conversation. But I let
yeah,
them start the conversation. I would see that different when it comes to children.
yeah,
I mean, we are, as long as they are not of age, we are in
yeah,
charge of them. And it's about their needs and growth. What I
yeah,
discovered, however, the absolute little ones, they're spiritual powerhouses who happen to struggle with a tiny little body.
yeah,
I mean, we have a member of Namas University who is a minor and tiny, but such a powerhouse who can even boss us around telepathically. And we are
Yes.
working with that colleague.
Yes.
It's normal, doesn't matter if it is in a tiny body.
Yeah. That's wonderful to say, colleague. That
Yes,
means we recognize this person's humanity and ability and divinity at the same time, which is the only way to get along with the young ones is to allow them to discover their mission, help them, redirect them away from absolute danger, but let them be free, as Brother Afra said in his book, that we need to recognize that these are beings, highly developed beings, who are coming in to be with us
yes.
and to
And
honor them.
yes, and simply because this higher dimensional being is struggling to get used to a third dimensional body doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Just there are two more questions. Did
Okay.
you continue physical exercise? And secondly, did you change eating habits?
Yes, I have a little bit more time these days, so my physical activity is taking long walks in the woods and the parks, and I try to do that once, at least 3 times in a week, so that I can connect with nature beings, to talk to the trees and the rocks, and receive messages, and just be in oneness with the nature that's around me. The eating habits has to change. The Definitely eating our friends and neighbors is not a very pleasant thing to do. And also, certain drinks that are not pure and clean does interfere with the energy fields within our bodies, and also interferes with our work in the cosmos. So, of necessity, things that are highly processed are not as beneficial. Things like alcohol open up gates that we sometimes don't want to be opened spiritually. So, as we become spiritually aware, our souls will direct us to what to eat and what not to eat. So, yeah, expect your habits to change, expect to be closer to nature, the water bodies, trees, parks, and have animals approach you and be friendly with everything that is around you. Yes, yes, should expect some change, but let it be at your own time, not because somebody's asking you that don't do this or don't do that.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to kind of explore what
yeah,
works and what doesn't work. I do
definitely.
daily exercises in the morning, about half an hour,
Okay.
stretching, training the muscles, flexibility, physical
Uh,
flexibility, which helps my mental flexibility.
yeah.
If I can, have a walk in the park daily for half an hour, so
Uh-huh.
get some fresh air. And I restrict myself to food I love eating, which in
Okay.
my case is my favorite is in the colder months, freshly home cooked vegetable soup
Okay.
and lots of salads. And hereby not to miss the point that I'm also eating living beings. It's not mainly meat and fish that
Uh-huh.
there is a living being who is sacrificing itself for my food.
Yes.
So when I prepare food or eat food, I thank all the life that is coming to me as food
Yeah.
and all life that made it come to me.
Yeah.
And thereby saying, I really appreciate that I couldn't live in this dense physical body without beings from another kingdom of this planet to sacrifice itself.
Well, Martina, thank you for that. I think we've gone quite long on this video today, answering question, but there's one last question, and I want you to close us after that. Our student would like to know if they can communicate, or how they can communicate effortlessly on Earth. how can they learn it so that they can begin to communicate, maybe telepathically, maybe communicate with other beings?
So the big answer is yes, you can,
Yeah.
and yes, you can learn it. We've described how to do it in the book, the Sanat Kumara, the 12 strand sun diamond DNA. So it's part of the fifth dimensional skills. You'll find what you need there. And basically, is once you understood how it works, you start to practice with at least one or two other persons.
Okay.
Does that work here? It works pretty well. My youngest godchild is a little girl who lives thousands of miles away from me, and we communicate telepathically. And that's very clear. And we had to introduce her mum to how that works. So we are playing games. Like I talk to my goddaughter, and then she tells her mum, and then her mum says, I got that from my little daughter. Is that correct? And I said, yeah,
Yeah.
that's we agreed on that. And now mom speaks this language as well.
Good.
And she learned that the children in the playgroup communicate amongst each other telepathically. They haven't lost that ability yet. So it's their parents who are a bit off the mark, so to speak.
Yeah.
And this will become the new natural. And just think about that. At the moment, companies are fighting who has the superiority, who has the grip on our communication that we use here at the moment, for example. Who controls the satellites? Who controls the devices? Who controls the apps? And now you can say, skip that. I don't need that. That is super cool. I really enjoy that each day.
Good. Good.
So we have come to the closure of the first 20 episodes of the Ambassador of Light podcast of the Sanat Kumara. And with the Sanat Kumara together, we've decided to have a companion book with the podcast. So each 20 episodes, the content will be summarized in a companion book for those who would want it.
Yeah.
We are currently busy to get that ready for you, or by the time you listen to episode 20, it will be ready. It will be published in English by our colleague David and in German by our colleague Julia. They will take on that additional work because otherwise we wouldn't be able to make that
We'll
happen.
be able to, definitely.
So we hope, and the Sanat Kumara hopes, that this will help you on your path because you have something where you can really say, okay, I don't have to watch it, I can also read it.
Good.
And with episode 21, we start into a new cycle where we will talk about the Creator, Cosmic Mother, the Divine Father, the Shambhala Unity Council, the Intergalactic Federation of Light, and the 12 kingdoms of this planet. Plus, we'll have some more colleagues on for you to get to know and to get to know their work. See you next week. Thank
See
you.
you next week. Thank you for the questions. Bye bye.
Keep coming with your
Okay.
questions and please be so kind to comment on the podcast. This will help the podcast reach more light beings.
Definitely. Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Forecast. 'Cause. Sun.